We are coming to you live from the new BEP studio for another thought provoking episode of a Black Executive Perspective podcast, a safe space to discuss all matters regarding race, culture, and those uncomfortable topics that people tend to avoid. I'm your host, Tony Tidbit.
And I'm your co host, Chris P. Reed. And we're here to tackle the real, the raw, and often uncomfortable truth shaping our world. No fluffy stuff, no filters, just bold conversations on the issues that matter. From power and politics to culture and corporate America, we're breaking down all these things without holding back. So let's get into it.
Buddy, let's go at it, man. So kick us off, bro. Because I know you chomping at the bit.
Man, so you know what? I want to set the tone here because I know you're an old movie guy, and so I was looking at Back to the Future, right? And there was a cat named Biff. Remember, Biff was the bully. That was McFly. You know,
Yeah,
was that his
boy,
name?
I mean, stop for a second. You
Yeah,
picked that movie?
yeah.
Yeah,
Because
okay,
it,
whatever.
was-
I don't, yeah,
it was relevant. It was relevant and recent at
okay,
this time,
okay,
right? I could have
okay,
went with the
okay.
Gooch. I could have went with the Gooch if you wanted me to.
The Gooch, what is that?
From
What movie?
Different Strokes. From Different
Okay,
Strokes, Arnold had a bully called the Gooch. It
okay,
ended up
bro.
being Forrest Whitaker.
All
This
right,
is
all right,
back in
whatever.
the
You,
days. But
I'm letting you
but
down as being a movie buff dude, but
hey
whatever.
man,
I'll play the
golly,
role. I'll
golly.
play the
But
role. But go ahead, do
that's
your
all right.
thing.
That's all right.
Look, I'm a method actor. All right,
Absolutely.
so
Understood.
so I'm good.
So
Go ahead.
the concept is at some point in time, you realize that a bully really has no friends. They have underlings and subordinates and yes men, right? And the idea of casting yourself as a bully, you have to be careful because you don't know who your real friends are. And one of the things that I'm running into now is, and I remember texting you and saying, hey, some of this stuff that's going on in the government that Trump is talking about doing, buying this place and taking over this place and all of these aspirational ideas of expansion, reminds me of some old school America type of stuff where we just come in and take what we want and leave all the rest behind. But I think what threw me off the most recently was this concept of Denmark, of Greenland, right? Because that was really a big deal to me because A, where it's located, and then B, not having a normal understanding, like the average person doesn't understand how Greenland works, that it's mostly ice and all these other things like that.
It's
And
called Greenland.
with the irony, right? And Iceland is real green.
Right.
But the thing that threw it off was now he's putting into legislation. Yesterday, it went into legislation per the Hill that he's activated the director of interior to put a plan in place that's called the Red, White, and Blue Land Act. Like he's not even getting creative with these terms of they gonna change the name of Greenland, just like now it's called the Gulf of America, allegedly. And the idea of being able to do this at a whim and being supported by your government is very dangerous when you have allies and friends because you and I cool. We real cool, right? But the moment I come and start saying stuff about your wife, your house, your children, we can't take that back, right? There is no walking back threats on making Canada the 51st country. Like I
The
can't come and
51st
talk
state.
reckless. 51st state, excuse me. Yeah, I can't
Right.
talk reckless like that and we continue in a harmonious, friendly relationship. So my question to you is, why has it become so cool and accepted for him to talk reckless about other countries and not only buying territory when we're saying we don't have a good economy and we don't have the money for that, but
Right.
also taking over places because there was something in Reuters that said with the Panama Canal, quote, they will take any measures necessary
To
to
take it over.
to secure the Panama Canal. And that's
Right.
dangerous.
Right. Right. Well, look, bro. Number one, these things are not. This ain't just a dude just go. And I know most people think that he's just ranting and going off, and he didn't take his medicine or anything like that. These
Right.
things are planned.
Right.
Okay, they're planned. All right. So you know, let's back up a little bit. His agenda. He's a populist figure. Okay. His agenda, and it's not the first time somebody had this type of agenda. Is the and I don't want to be wrong because I'm trying to think as a president, this is the first time. But his agenda is America first.
Okay.
Okay. So having America first agenda, you don't give a damn about your friends, your neighbor and his wife and speaking nice to them because I may need them. You're like, forget them. I want to take care. I all I care about is what is good for me. I'm not here to care about what's good for you. Okay. So I'm here to focus on me. And when I focus on me, I want to take anything that's around, okay, around my territory that I can secure. Okay. So I don't need Europe. I don't need Asia. I don't need South America. I can, if I can take Greenland, I can take Mexico, I can take Canada. I'm good. Okay, Panama Canal, all that. That's an American first strategy. That's his strategy. Okay.
Right.
Now, what's funny is, to your point, none of this ever came up in any debate. This wasn't stuff that was talked about on the election trail. None of this, right? And then so these things all of a sudden coming out, before he is inaugurated, saying we're gonna take Greenland, or we're gonna take those things those are intentional things, signaling, all right, and letting those entities, those governments know that, number one, we want you. You can't stop us, right? We're putting it out here now. It reminds me, you ever see the movie Scarface? I'm gonna give you a movie now, right? Remember Scarface?
Right.
Okay. Remember towards the end of the movie,
Right.
right?
Right.
And he's on the phone with Sosa saying, "Do you want to go to war? You want to go to war?" And he don't know they already climbing over his wall.
Absolutely.
All right. He's
Absolutely.
already at war. All
Right.
right. And that's what this is about.
Right.
He's basically saying, we're going to take this, we're going to take this. And they're already doing plans, implementing, while the people in those countries are saying, well, they're trying to talk, enact
Diplomatic.
diplomacy.
Right, right,
Okay.
right.
They're trying to have a conversation where they're already over the wall,
Right.
they're already in your country lining up. They're already dicing it up while you're sitting here talking about, wait a minute, let's have a conversation, blah, 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 blah. Now, let's be fair. Will it happen? I don't know. But these things are a strategy that they had planned. Here's the thing. I'm just being honest with you. These things were planned while they were sitting once after, and I'd be honest with you, I think they were thinking about this stuff back in the summertime. But let's be fair. Once the election was over, they wasn't just on the golf. He just wasn't on the golf course chilling. They were coming up. This is why he had 100 executive orders or 200, whatever it was, that he signed immediately after.
Already
all
printed up.
this stuff already printed up. All this stuff was already planned. And again, this is part of that. Prince used to have a song, Chaos and Disorder. It was one of, most people probably don't remember the song. It was one of I loved it, right? And this is what this is that I'm going to make it chaos. I'm going to throw so many things at them. They can't respond. You just got finished talking before we came on that you're a football guy, right? So being a football guy, you played football in college, whole 9 yards. You love the Baltimore Ravens, right? So what is the football terminology when you want to get to the quarterback?
Blitz.
You blitz, all right?
From
That means you throw-
Blitzkrieg, meaning
that
lightning
comes
war.
from exactly. That's
Yep.
what the Germans did in
Yep.
World War II,
That's
right?
right.
We're going to overwhelm them, okay, with stuff that they ain't got enough blockers, they ain't ready to deal with. So that's the strategy as well. We're going to throw all these things, right? We're going to talk domestic. We're going to talk international. We're going to talk programs. We're going to talk this. We're going to talk tariffs. We're going to do all this stuff all at once to overwhelm them where they don't even know what's coming. They can't respond to it effectively. So eventually what happens? They give up. All right. By the time they come up with some type of countermeasure to overcome it, it's too late. And again, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's the strategy.
Let me tell you this, though. The last time I saw a bully be absolutely wrong in that type of strategy was when Putin invaded Ukraine. He thought that was going to be a weekend. They was going to go in there, take what they wanted, and that was going to be it. And that was 2 years ago, right? Like, how long has this Ukraine thing been going on? And his people are turning against him. That bully stuff don't always work out. Matter of fact, most of the time, it doesn't work out well, Tony. When you start bullying, especially when you start bullying people that are close and allies, because the trust is gone. And the hardest thing to rebuild is trust when you talk reckless.
Buddy, I'm not disagreeing with that, right? But that doesn't matter. A bully ain't thinking that. All right? A bully's like, I'm taking your shit.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And I'm going to tell you flat out in your face,
Right.
I'm taking it. That's a
Right.
bully mentality. Now, whether it works or not, we'll see. Okay? And then again, when you do that, who are you doing that to? Okay, who think about that for a second. Number one,
Hmm.
who you looking in the eye and
Hmm.
saying I'm taking your stuff? Who you doing that to?
Well, he trying to do it to people. Once again, it was all fun and games
No, no,
until
no,
he
no, no,
made the
no, no,
comment.
no, no,
Go
no,
ahead.
no. Just let's just take it to a street level.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
To the people who can be pushed over,
Thank you. Or you think can be
or you think
pushed
can be
over.
pushed over.
You think they could be.
Right.
You're not going to bully somebody you know that can kick your ass.
Here's the
All right.
situation. That was
But just to be fair though, right?
right.
To be fair, you're not he ain't going to Putin saying we taking Kazakhstan.
Right.
All
Right.
right? He ain't doing that.
Right.
He's going to the places that he feel he can steamroll, okay? And
Okay.
get their stuff or use it as a negotiation tactic
Okay.
to get them to cave and give him something that he wants. That's all this, buddy. That's all it is. So you only bully the people you think you can size up. You look at them like he ain't gonna do nothing, she ain't gonna do nothing. I'm just gonna go take it.
But I think that the issue that you run into is, and we ran into this in Afghanistan, right? And this is, I'm not comparing the two in this regard, but when he talks about taking over the Gaza Strip, renovating it, kicking the people out, and then selling it back to them,
Wait a
Tony.
minute, wait a minute. I didn't even hear selling it back to him. I heard
Yes.
they can't come back.
No, he said they
Okay.
can come back if he said he gonna beautify it, fix it up. It's gonna be like a HGTV show. He gonna
I
go to
didn't
Gaza, dislocate these folks from their homeland,
right
from
from their
their
homeland.
ancestral land, and then fix it up on their behalf or fix it up to make it. He said it was gonna be the new French Riviera.
No, 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 no. He said that. That was last week. Yesterday in the Wall Street Journal, I
Hmm.
have the recording.
Okay.
Okay. He said they can't come back.
Oh
All
wow.
right. He's going to put them out. He's going to fix, again, we acting like this is done, but this is his idea. He's
Okay.
going to replace them.
Okay.
He's going to rebuild the place.
Hmm.
And then there's going to be a beautiful oasis. And then all types of people can come and live there. Okay. That's his
Hmm.
plan. But the Palestinians can't come back.
But
Okay.
so all types except the Palestinians.
Except the Palestinians. They can't come
Okay.
back.
Okay. That's where I was
Okay.
disconnected.
And
Okay.
look, fact check me, look it
Right. Right.
up.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
have
Right.
it on my phone. I saw it.
Right.
I watched it, and then I also read the article, right? So there's a
Right.
video, there's a recording on the Wall Street Journal, and I read the article too, right?
Right.
And it was clear. He said
Right.
they can't come back.
Right.
And even his supporters were caught off guard that he said that. Okay. Now, so think about it a second. Just be clear here. Okay. We had the fires in LA
LA. Yep.
where people's homes wiped out.
Yep.
We had the hurricanes in Florida, North Carolina,
Yep.
homes wiped out. All right. Now we know the insurance companies for the most part ain't worth nothing. Okay.
Right.
But let's just play the game here. Okay. Let's say your home was wiped out, your neighborhood, all your neighbors, right? I mean, nothing's there, nothing but boulders and stuff of that nature, right? And then all of a sudden, you guys all had, and again, we're just hypothetical, you all had the same insurance carrier. And so you all called in to make a claim like we want to rebuild, and your insurance carrier says, guess what? You can't, we gonna rebuild here, but
Right.
we ain't rebuilding your house.
Right.
You can't come back. We're gonna
Right.
build you a house over here,
Right.
but you can't come back to this area. All right. Is that acceptable? Would you see? I'll be honest with you, man. This is so I don't, what's the word I want to say? You're talking about taking somebody's homeland.
Golly.
Okay. Let's be
Which,
fair. Let's
which
put
they've
ourselves.
proven they would fight for. They've
Wait a minute.
proven they're going to
But-
fight
but-
over this.
But to be fair though, forget that. Just the thought process
Yeah, yeah.
to say, number one, you don't respect them or you demean them. They're beneath you. Okay. So in other words, would you take your mother and your home and your home got wiped out, and then you're going to tell your mother she can't come back to her house, her land that her father, his mother, their father for generations lived there.
Right.
Okay. They're now, because of a war or whatever, it's wiped out. It needs to be rebuilt. They can't come back. World War II destroyed most of Europe.
Right.
Did we tell those people in England and Poland and all those countries, did we say, hey, look, we're gonna help rebuild, but you can't live there no longer?
You can't live. Yeah,
Right?
this
We're
ain't
gonna
yours
put
now.
some other people. This ain't yours. Are you kidding me? But
Right.
why is it okay to do that for the Palestinians? And then the final thing I want to say about it, one of the things I hear is that, well, it'll be better, and he said this too, it would be better for peace, all right? Because if you move the Palestinians out, then there will be less war. Stop. That's not true.
Right.
That area is always going to fight.
That's right.
Okay. So in 1967, they had the what? I forget, was it this 10-day war, or
Right.
whatever the case may be,
Right.
where Israel was fighting, I think it
Right.
was Egypt. All right. Then Iran and Egypt, Iraq and Egypt.
Right.
I mean, excuse me, Iran and Israel, Iraq and Israel. There's always something in that area. So there's not just because the Palestinians right there, oh, we're going to, so you're just using excuses
Right.
to try to take these people's land.
Right.
And then talk about it that we're going to build a Riviera, which we're going to make money and this and that, but
Yep.
they can't come back.
They can't come back off their land. Pimp it.
Off their land. Off
Yep.
their land. Now, doesn't that remind you of the Native Americans here?
Native America, Trail of Tears.
Okay?
Absolutely.
You see, and then when people bring this stuff up, oh
Manifest
man, what are
Destiny.
you talking about? This is all history stuff. You're talking about stuff that happened 700 years ago. We look at what's happening now. We want to take Gaza.
Yep.
We want to take Greenland.
Yep. The
Okay?
Panama Canal.
We're just gonna take it.
Manifest
And
Destiny,
forget
Tony.
those
They call it
people.
Manifest Destiny.
Forget the people that live there. They don't matter.
Right.
They're beneath us.
Right.
Right. We're just gonna take their land and we're gonna do this. So mind person. So, look, bro, go ahead, take it over.
No, I'm just saying, this was something that was written about in history books. And in 1845, a guy named John O'Sullivan came up with the term manifest destiny, meaning that people who came to the New World of America, the new Americas, had the right ordained by God to expand and proliferate wherever they could. And unfortunately had to trample on, civil liberties and rights of others. But this thing in the Middle East, in that area, since 1500s, when it was the Ottoman Empire, has been conflicts where these people have shown they're not going nowhere.
No,
They're not going
nowhere, buddy. It's biblical. They've been fighting. It's in the Bible.
Yes.
All right. When Abraham had what's his name from Mary? I forget his wife, and then the midwife. Okay.
Right.
They've been fighting ever since then.
Right.
Okay.
Sarah,
one of them is Israel, and one of them is the Arab. And so my point is the Muslim thing. So that's always going to happen. No person can stop that.
Right.
Okay. So to say, but again, they know that.
But what's to be gained from a strategy perspective? What's to be gained? What's to be gained by talking big like that, Tony? When you're talking about once number one, the second largest religion in the world, and you talk about coming in and deboing somebody's land, what is to be gained there?
So there's not, buddy. What's to be gained is gained for them to take it. Okay, so I mean, we just got finished establishing, right? When there's a bully, they're not thinking about you,
right?
They're thinking about themselves,
right?
They're thinking about what they can take. They look at you as a mark, okay? You're weak. You're beneath me, so I'm just gonna come in and bulldoze you. I don't care about your family. I don't care about your generations. I don't care about your religion. I don't care about nothing. Okay, all I care about is what I can get and I can take. All right. And that's the mindset we have as the president of the United States. That's his mind. For you to say that, we're just taking your land. Okay. We're just going to take it. Not that, hey, we're going to relocate you for a while. We're going to build this back up. And then you're going to be able to come home. Blah. I mean, in history, as far as I know, we've always done that. Okay. But when it comes to the Palestinians, we can't do that. Okay.
Well, the one thing we can't do, Tony, is we can't in an election cycle complain about the economy and what we don't have and be victimized by people coming in and all this other stuff and have the money and resources to go do something somewhere else. The one thing about nationalism is it's internalized. Nationalism means that we look out for us and we shut our borders and always focus on us. Think about 9/11. When they talk about the most nationalistic time we've had in the last 50 years, 9/11, everything because we were just focused on us and it was all about us. I don't think it was great, right? We were talking to the lady about when she said that's when we all came together, and I said no, the Muslims wouldn't believe that was the case. But the moral of the story is you can't always talk about nationalism in America first and then start talking about poking bears outside of your borders.
No, so look, bro, I at the end of the day, there is a what's the word I want to say? There is a person talking out of both sides of his mouth.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
because the election was based on the economy.
Mm-hmm.
It was based on immigration.
Mm-hmm.
It was based on a false narrative around DEI and all these things,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was for we spending too much money overseas. You know, we're building and helping these people and they're not spending no money.
Mm-hmm.
Blah, 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 blah. We need to take care of us. It was
Mm-hmm.
about fracking, right? Us be able to drill and make our own oil, right? It was about we don't need to be a part of the Paris
Accords.
treaty,
Yeah. Yep.
right? Because forget the world, the global stuff. We need to focus on America. That's
Mm-hmm.
what this was about. Matter of fact, that was the foreign policy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's just to your point. Where did all this come from?
Man.
None of this was said until after the election.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Think about it. And now look, we got to be fair though, right? The war with when Hamas,
Mm-hmm.
took the hostages. That was in
Mm-hmm.
October.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And was that was October of last year.
Last year, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
October of
Mm-hmm.
last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this has been going on for a while. All
Or 2 years
right,
ago. Yeah. I get
or
what.
two
Yeah.
years ago. So
23. Yep.
to be, was it? It was 2023.
Yeah. 23.
23. Yeah, so
Yep.
a year and a half
Mm-hmm.
almost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so, but to be fair, we know that Gaza was being bombed to death at that time frame,
Absolutely.
right? So even in you thought like, wow, they're gonna be bombed to the Stone Age. What's gonna be left?
Mm-hmm.
So, but none of this ever came up.
Mm-hmm.
None of this, right? And so now it's we're going to take their land. We taking Greenland. We're taking
Mm-hmm.
all this type
Mm-hmm.
stuff, right? When this wasn't even part of the strategy. Excuse me. This wasn't even part of the platform
Mm-hmm.
that you ran on from an election standpoint. The
Right.
platform was we're going to decrease the prices of eggs.
Right.
Have you gone well and bought some eggs lately? Matter of fact, I went to the store the other day. What was it? Last week? I think it was. Was it last week? Yeah, I think it was Friday. We was getting a little snowstorm here, right?
Right.
Bruh, I went there. I mean, it was insane.
It
And not
was.
only that, the eggs. I think didn't you see the article? Somebody stole 100,000 eggs.
Yes. Yes.
What the-
Yes.
It reminds
Yeah.
me back in COVID when people were stealing toilet paper or hoarding it, or one of the
Right.
two,
Right.
right? But net, those things haven't happened yet.
Right.
Okay. Will they ever happen? We don't know. But for you to start talking about you're going to take other people's land, how would that make you feel, man? Let's just be fair.
That's what I was
Let's
going
be
to ask
fair.
you. As
How would that make
as
you
a
feel?
veteran, as a veteran,
Right?
do you have the appetite for this type of behavior from the United States of America?
No, forget the veteran stuff. I'm
Okay.
saying just as a regular human being, how would
Oh,
that make you feel
if
that
somebody
a
was taking it from
land,
you?
yeah, somebody
Oh,
said
yeah.
flat out,
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris Reed family,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
that's been, and I know you haven't, but I'm just
Yeah.
again
Yeah.
hypothetical.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
been in the Dallas area for since Daniel Boone,
Right. Right.
okay, David Crockett,
Right.
okay, and generation after generation after generation after generation.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, something happens, hurricane,
Mm-hmm.
something, where your family's land or house wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
Still own the land, but it's wiped out. And then all of a sudden now they're telling you you can't come back to your land. They're gonna, and not only that, not that you can't come back because it's not inhabitable. Okay, they're gonna fix it up,
Right.
and then but you can't come back to it. How would
Right.
that make you feel?
Oh, 3 words. Cold dead hands. Over my cold dead hands. Like I'm not allowing for that, bro. Like, but my mom ain't raised no punk, and this is just not how I get down, whether it be culturally or otherwise. You can't do that because you have to stand for something. You're fall for anything, right? At some point in time, you have to make a stand, but you also can't get into a practice of letting people speak recklessly about you and around you. I can't. I know your mother's no longer with us, but if I got around you and start talking left about your mama or about something you care deeply about, you have a responsibility and opportunity to check me, whether that be physically or otherwise, because you can't let people play like that. You can't let people play with, yeah, if I feel like it, I'm gonna come take your stuff. Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, so number one, but to your point though, and again, we hear or watch only so much, but there should be an outcry, not just from the Middle East, but right here in the United States. People should be like, "Are you kidding me?"
That's what I'm saying. Absolutely.
Right? People here should be like, "Are you kidding me?"
Right.
right? We're going to take these people's land and hold on. Not just, hey, there was a nuclear bomb that went off, so you can't live there, okay?
Right.
And so we're going to cordon the whole thing off. We ain't going to let nobody live there because it's uninhabitable. No,
Right.
we're going to fix it up. We're going to clear it. We're going to fix it up and make it a river, an oasis of casinos and restaurants. And we're going to make it a new vacation spot. Think about that. And you can't come back to it. You can't come back.
Absolutely. But this is not, once again, like you said about the chaos theory, this is not isolated, because just 2 days ago at the Super Bowl, he doubled down on assuming Canada as a state. Canada has stated plainly and overtly, we are not for sale. We are not negotiating this. Denmark has said, give us California if you're thinking about Greenland. Like, people aren't playing, Tony. Like, this is all fun and games, and you and I can chuckle about this. But it's some people that's really, really offended because of their tie, like you said today, parents to some of these things. And when the United States says that they're getting involved and we as citizens allow for this to proliferate, that puts a bad taste in our mouth diplomatically and as far as foreign relations, because who's next? That's the thing about bullies. Who's next?
Well, it's not only who's next, though, bro, is that you assuming that nothing bad happens here in the United States or we don't need help, right? And so, at the end of the day, at some point, something always happens. Okay, always happens. Right?
Well, Canada just sent planes for the LA fires.
But again, this dude doesn't respect them. Okay, he doesn't respect them. He doesn't respect the Mexican president. He doesn't respect them. And so I'm not making an excuse. I'm just telling you the facts, right? And this is, again, bro. So what do you do with a bully?
You gotta punch him in the mouth.
You right off the bat. I remember my brother used to tell me this flat out. He used to tell me this. My boy Walt. He say this all the time. He was like, the dude that's talking. So it's three or four of them. The dude that's got the biggest mouth.
Absolutely.
I sock him
Absolutely.
dead in his eye, right?
Absolutely.
Right in his nose, right?
Absolutely.
And bruh, I hate to say it.
Absolutely.
You're gonna say, I
Absolutely.
mean, flat out, right? Somebody ain't
Yep.
gonna buy that bluff. They're not
Absolutely.
going to. And then what does that?
They
do?
didn't know you was
It
just
puts us-
playing. They didn't
don't
know you was
that
just
you're
carrying
playing.
on.
And not only that, it puts us all in harm's way
Absolutely.
because you opened your mouth.
Absolutely.
Okay, and you disrespected these people like they're nothing.
Yep.
Okay, so but that the game. The first thing you do, the dude's talking, you sock him dead in the eye.
That's right.
What?
That's right.
Smack.
You eliminate the threat. Absolutely.
Okay, right
You eliminate
off
the
the
threat.
bat. Okay, and then guess what? He quiet.
Right.
Okay. Then he's like, "Oh, look what they did to me." All right, look what they did to me.
Right.
So, and he was funny though. I seen that when I was in grade school. Okay, I seen this dude messing with this girl. Okay, flat out, a bully. Okay, and she was scared on her yards. She put a lock, remember those old combination locks? Wrapped that mug up in a sock, smack.
Gave him a mic knock. Gave him a mic knock.
It wasn't a guy. It was another girl. It was two girls fighting.
Okay.
But she was a bully.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Hit her in the eye with that combination lock.
Yep.
You ain't never heard from her again.
Yeah.
Okay. So it happens, man. Look, at the end of the day, we got to stay tight on this, and American people have to push back on this. What if that was you? See, we're talking because we're in a far, far away place, right? And we're about to have dinner, and people gonna have steak, or going out to dinner, and we're driving our cars, and they're like, "Oh, well, that's over there." No, stop for a second.
Right.
Let's show some humanity here.
Right.
Okay, what if that was you? How
Right.
would you feel that somebody would say they're gonna come take your land?
Right.
Your whole existence.
Right.
Okay? Your whole family's existence.
Right.
Okay? How would you? So people gotta stand up here, man. And I don't want to start hearing stuff. I want to hear people say stuff. I want to hear people push back, because even if it doesn't happen, just to say it.
But Tony,
Is
they
wrong.
drafting paperwork. Shouldn't
They
the
climbing over
Congress?
the wall. They climbing over the wall.
They drafting paperwork and submitting it to Congress. It's gone too far already. So Congress, the people who we elect to represent us, should be doing the pushing back, should be the adults in the room. This has gone too far already.
But
It's
look,
not
bro.
just theoretical. Once paperwork start getting drafted and affidavits and what notaries start stamping stuff.
So,
So
one of the things is somebody just said here, Americans asked for a strong leader, which Biden was not. Okay. So let
what
me
a
ask you.
strength though. Go
So,
ahead.
is that
Give me that.
leadership? Is that leadership? Okay. Just to be fair,
Yeah.
is that leadership? A
No,
leadership is a bull. Well, let's back up a second. Is a bully a leader?
he can be. He can be. But you know this, there's a term called sedition and mutiny. And there's bylaws. Obviously, we're going to be on the laws, but even in the military, if you have a commander that the people have determined is leading us into death or putting us in harm's way, we have a responsibility as human beings to gather together and dismiss him of his duties because of his dereliction. At
Right.
this point in time, this dude is not, he's not meaning us any good. And I can't see the plan or the play as to where these things can turn out all well that ends well.
Right. Right. So here's the thing, though, bro. So a leader, by definition, is a person, okay, that epitomizes who is a servant that cares about people and leads people. You understand where I'm coming from? They are, so it's a difference between somebody who's a boss and somebody who's a leader.
I disagree with that because Hitler was a leader.
Now, just hold on for a second.
Okay.
So we're not saying good or bad leaders.
Got you. Okay.
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 I'm not saying that, right?
Okay.
Anybody, but what I'm saying is a real leader is somebody that cares about the people, okay? That leads the people to where they want to go, right? Who's an example, who does the things that they need to do, right? That is a servant leader who takes care of his people, right? Definitely strong leader speaks up, not afraid of confrontation, but that doesn't mean that they're a bully. That doesn't mean that they're
I agree.
trying to take something from somebody,
Right.
right? A strong leader is somebody that, hey, will take a bullet. They'll say, hey, this was my fault, not my team's fault. Okay. The strong leader would sit back and say, hey, I got this. Don't worry about it. And then they're behind the scenes taking care of or taking a bullet or fighting for you, and you don't even know about it. And they're not coming out and saying, let me tell you what I did for you. All right. You wouldn't even know. Okay. A strong leader is somebody that's charismatic, that inspires people, okay, to be the best that they can be. All right. Not says, well, hey, if I'm running a leader of a company, well, those people in marketing, they're horrible. They're taking from you. We can't trust those people in marketing. That ain't, yeah, that person's a leader, but that person's not a good leader. It's not a strong leader, right? So just because the word strong doesn't make them a good, effective leader. Okay,
Right.
in my opinion,
Right.
right?
Right.
So,
Right.
and here's the thing, though, and Biden wasn't a leader. You don't know. And,
Right.
at the end of the day, people don't know who's doing what, who did what. You can think this person's soft and weak. You don't know.
Right.
Okay, but at the end of the day, just because somebody starts trying to sock other people in the eye or trying to take other people's land doesn't
Right.
make them like they're better, they're strong. Yeah, this is what I want, right? It's Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy. Let's look at
Right.
football standpoint.
Right.
Tony
Right.
Dungy, right? He's a football coach leader, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Did he win
Very
Super Bowl?
empowering. Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Was he knocking people over the head? Was he blah blah? That wasn't his style.
Right.
Okay, he was
Right.
very empowering. He was so stop with that. At the end of the day, that has nothing to do with anything with somebody being a bully.
Right. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
listen, bro, I want to go to this because this is one of the areas that I think that most people struggle with, and it's a simple thing, but it's become something that people can't get past, and it's the word called opportunity. Okay, can you humor me for a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So let's dive into the word of opportunity. So do you know what the definition of opportunity is?
Not verbatim. No.
Okay, most people don't. Okay, but let's go through it real quick because I want to go through this. I want to tell a little story and show what the true definition and the true meaning of opportunity. Okay, so I got three versions, Webster's and the American Dictionary. So opportunity, an occasion or situation that makes it possible to do something that you want to do, that makes it possible to do something that you want to do or have to do, or the possibility of doing something. Another version, a set of circumstances that make it possible to do something. And then the third, an opportunity is a situation in which it is possible for you to do something that you want to do. Okay? So again, possible for you to do something. So let me just give you some synonyms. In other words, other words that mean that are synonyms of opportunity. Okay? So chance. I just looking for a chance. Opportunity, right? A shot. Oh, just give me a shot. That's all I need, right? An opening. All I need is an opening. I can make it happen, right? Show. Let me show you what I can do. I just need the opportunity, right? I just need a fair shake, right? Opportunity, right? Or I just need a break. Give me a break. I can make it happen, okay? Now, here's the challenge, though. Now, you heard all those synonyms. You heard every one of them, right? Now, when people today, when they hear the word opportunity, this is what they hear. Threat. They're a threat to me. Incompetent. They ain't good as me. Unqualified. They ain't qualified. Lack of talent. They don't have it. They're here to replace me, right? Or handout. They're looking for a handout. Just from the word opportunity. Would you agree with that or not?
I think that can evoke that type of thought process for sure.
Just the word opportunity, right? Okay. Now, let me tell you a quick little story based on the word opportunity. You know who Jackie Robinson is?
Yes, sir.
Was?
Yes,
Right?
sir.
Who's Jackie
Absolutely.
Robinson? Who's Jackie?
The first African American player in the major leagues. Went to USC. All the vet played. Brother was an Olympian. All of that.
Exactly. However, Jackie Robinson was born, so he broke the color barrier in 1947. Prior to 1947, Black people could not play in the major leagues, could not play Major League Baseball because they had a clause. Okay? And one of the reasons is, well, number one, they didn't want to play with Black players, but white players thought they wasn't talented enough to play in the major league. All right? So again, Blacks wanted to play in the Major League Baseball. What they were looking for was a chance,
That's right.
a shot,
Right.
an opening. They just wanted to show what they could do. They just needed a fair shake, a break. They just wanted an opportunity. Okay? However, the white Major League Baseball players, when they heard that the Black players wanted an opportunity to play in the major leagues, they heard threat.
Yes.
They're going to take our stuff. They heard they're incompetent. They can't play. They heard they're unqualified.
Right.
They heard they don't have the talent. They heard they're here to replace us. They heard they just want a handout. Just because the Black players said they wanted an opportunity to play in the major leagues. Okay? So now, go ahead, bro.
To be fair, the threat part and the replace us part, history is not kind in the sentiment of that, because can you tell me from a major league MVP perspective how that played out?
But I'm going to get there, right?
Okay.
But that's what they thought.
Right.
Okay. So when Jackie Robinson came in 1947, okay. Now here's the thing, and I want people to follow me with this, because my pastor, my church told me this a long time ago. There's nothing new under the sun. Okay. So Jackie Robinson came into the majors in 1947. All right. Bringing the end to the game's color barrier. All right. Now, during that time frame, he's the only Black person in the National League. Larry Doby came in a month or 2 months later in the American League, but he pretty much stayed on the bench. All right. So Jackie Robinson had to deal with a bunch of racial discrimination.
Hell yeah.
He had the pressure to perform because he was there. Hey, I can do this. But everybody else, when they heard opportunity, he's a threat. He's incompetent. He doesn't have the talent. So all those things, plus the racial discrimination was against him. But not only that, the weight that he was carrying from his teammates, because they're like, we got this black dude, he can't play, he on our team, right? The opponents was attacking him verbally, physically, hitting him in the head with the baseball, blah, blah, blah. The fans were all over him. The accommodations, he couldn't stay in hotels. He had to live at people's houses, whole 9 yards. And he had the whole weight of the entire race on his back, because if he failed, they would never get another
chance. Absolutely.
Another shot, an opening, an opportunity. Okay? So the reason I bring that up, when we talk about sometimes being in corporate America, and you're the only black person or the few black people that get in, what weight are you carrying?
Of representation. Absolutely.
You representing a lot of, so if you don't do a good job, right, it could affect, maybe not the whole entire race, but it can affect a chance for other people of color to come in, right? So nobody carried the weight like Jackie Robinson did, but we still deal with that, right? When we go in and we're in a place and it's not a lot of us, okay? Now, here's the moral of the story. In Jackie Robinson dealing with all this type of weight, pressure, nobody wanted him there. They didn't think he was good enough. He became the rookie of the year. That means he was the best new person in the major leagues in 1947. Now think about it for a second. There's no other blacks in the National League. There's only one in Major League Baseball, and that's in American League, and Larry Doby, and he's on the bench. Okay? So, and it's the white news reporters, sportscasters, sports reporters who do the voting. So how good did he have to be voted, okay, Rookie of the Year? So that tells you something, right? Now, here's the thing. 2 years later, Jackie Robinson became the most valuable player in the National Leagues. That means he was the best of the best out of all the Major League Baseball players in 1949. Okay? Here's the irony. Here's the kicker. Because after Jackie Robinson came in, then they started letting other blacks come in. For the next 16 years out of 20 years, 16 times out of 20, the next from 1949 to 1969, 16 people of color, were the most valuable player of the National League. 16 out of 20, where a few years ago, all they wanted was a chance, a shot, an opening, a fair shake, an opportunity. And those people heard a threat. They're not talented enough. So at the end of the day, think about it. Let's just stop for a second. Were they talented enough?
Absolutely. Always were.
But guess what? If they never got the what?
The chance, the opportunity.
The shot, the chance, the fair shake, we would have never known about it. And so that's the same thing today. So think about it for a second. 16 out of 20 years was a person of color became the Major League Baseball most valuable player in the National Leagues because they got a shot, not a handout, because they got a chance. They wasn't there to, they wasn't a threat, because they got an opening. They were talented enough, right? And here's the kicker. Everybody benefited from their presence. The league, how did the league benefit? Because they got more talented players. So the game went from here to here because now you got more talented players, right? That you didn't even think of that's now in the league. The fans benefited because now they're seeing the best of the best
greater quality
players. And then more importantly, the players benefited because guess what? Iron sharpens iron, right? So now we got the best players. So now all of the players are now looking at these players and picking up little cues and stuff for them, where now the whole talent pool becomes at a higher level. Okay? And this is the lesson. Hold on, bro.
Okay.
And this is the lesson here that we still deal with in 2025. When people of color or people say all they're looking for is an opportunity, they're not looking for a handout. They're not looking, they are talented enough. They're looking for a shot to show what they can do. But when you keep them out, nobody never sees it. And then what happens? Everybody misses out. Okay? Everybody. The organization, the bottom line, everybody misses out because not all of the talented people that's on the planet that can be doing the job has the same opportunity to do that job. Not a handout, not we're giving them something, not a threat. And what stops that is, and this is what I forgot to say, is fear. Fear. It's fear. That's why when you hear the word opportunity, people think a threat. They think they're not talented. They're here to replace me because they're afraid that, guess what? They may be better than you. Okay? They may be Jackie Robinson. Or they may be Don Newcomb. Okay? Or they may be Hank Aaron. Or they may be Willie Mays. Okay? Or they may be Joe Morgan. Or they may be Bob Gibson. Or they may be, we would have never heard of any of those names. None of them. If they didn't get a shot, an opportunity to possibly do what they want to do. Let me hear your thoughts on that, my brother.
The issue that you run into is if the bully is the person in charge making the decisions, they never want to step down or step aside. Some people who are great, they want iron to sharpen iron and they want to be tested against the best. There are others who don't want that because they don't want to relieve the mantle that they've established with the limited competition that they have before them. Right now in corporate America, you work there, I work there. It's people that don't want to give up these seats and these golden packages and opportunities. So as long as they're making the decisions and the determinations, they're never going to come off of it. Why would they?
So I get that, right? But that's why we're having this conversation, okay? Because we're trying to educate, okay? So at the end of the day, is that I hope during this, people can really understand what the word opportunity means.
Right.
That's really the key to this.
Right.
Opportunity doesn't mean you're giving them something for nothing, or they want a handout, or they're not qualified, or they're not talented. It's the possibility to do something that you want to do. Now, I'm going to end it, and then we can close out. Let me ask you a question. Your first job interview, when you came out of college, did you have any experience?
No.
Okay. So somebody gave you a shot.
Opportunity. That's right. That's right.
Gave you a chance. You wanted to show what you could do. All you needed was an opening, a fair shake, a break. And when you got that, what did you do with it?
Made the most of it.
You kicked ass. Here's the thing that I want everybody to recognize, and I want them to be honest. When they first got their jobs, no matter what industry, no matter what endeavor, they had no experience. They had none. All they might have graduated college or maybe they didn't go to college or whatever the case may be. And somebody did what? Gave them what?
A chance.
An opportunity, right? They gave them a shot. They gave them a chance. They gave them an opening. They gave them a break. And then guess what? They took advantage of that to show what they could do. And they started rising and doing their thing. So please remember that. The next time you hear that somebody's looking for an opportunity, don't go to they're not qualified. Don't go to they're a threat. Don't go to they're trying to replace me. Don't go to these things. Just think about you when you were in that situation, when you started, and all they're looking for is a shot. Now, if they don't live up to the shot, then they don't make it. That's fair for everybody. But that's not what an opportunity is. Okay?
Right. But let me say this, Tony, because this is one thing that's propelled my career, is this paranoia that I'll get a shot or an opportunity and then not be supplied the resources to fulfill the greatness that I have. And so I'm always, when I get into a role, doing everything I can to solidify that it's not a token kind of just give it to me and then don't give me what it takes to be successful. Because I've seen people, not me, get 1,000 chances. And and I know I got one shot. I got one shot.
So
I mess up one deal. I mess up, $100. Then I've seen people mess up $1 million deal, and they be like, "Hey, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. You got to fail fast." And all that. I can't fail at all. So there's a genuineness to the opportunity that's presented as well, and it has to be given at a higher stake. Entry level is cool when I'm out of college, but I need something that's going to put me based on my talent in the same pool as others who have said talent.
So, buddy, I'm not disagreeing with you. That's
Mhm.
next week. Okay. We'll
Okay.
deal with that level next week.
Understand,
Right. I'm
understand.
just talking from a base
Getting in the dough.
standpoint.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Of what
yeah, yeah,
opportunity means. Right.
yeah, yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
say that it was all figured out and then you get one.
yeah.
We can be here for days,
Right, 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 right.
days talking about. Right. I just want
Understood.
everybody to know what opportunity, bro. So I think it's time for us to end. Final quick thought, my brother.
Oh, just that we just got to be vigilant, and we have to see who we want to represent ourselves as a company, as a culture, as a country, and realize that when you don't say something, you're complicit. Silence is being complicit, and you're allowing for people to represent you regardless of what you believe. When you go overseas and visit somewhere, they see your representation as you when you get off the plane. So people have a
Absolutely.
bad taste in their mouth for Americans. It's not just because they jealous. It's because we act around talking big and crazy, and we gonna end up being the people who have to pay for some of this rhetoric. So just be mindful.
Exactly, bro. And the only thing I would say amen to that. And then the final thing I want to say, at least on what we talked about today, is we need to, I just wish, I want everybody to take a step back, regardless of the topics that we talked about today. But put yourself, let's start showing a little empathy of trying to understand the other person's point of view
Mhm.
and put ourselves in their shoes. And would that be okay for us? Right? Really? Now, if you say that's okay for me, and if it was me, I would be okay with it, then you know what? And God bless you. I ain't got nothing to say. Okay.
Right.
But what we tend to do, we don't do that. We always look because we don't see it happening to us. So we don't think about how we would feel if we were in that situation. So I hope that everybody, if we can just take that chance, but not take that chance, if we can take that step and just slow down and think and say, wait, how would I feel if me and my family had to deal with this? Or how would I feel if somebody was saying
Right.
this? Or how would I feel? And then I guarantee you, a lot of your reaction would be totally different, right?
Right.
So again, we hope you enjoyed this live episode of the Black Executive Perspective podcast. Don't miss tomorrow's episode on a Black Executive Perspective podcast. We have the director, the producer, Alana Trotchman of a fabulous, impactful documentary she put together called Ain't No Back to a Merry-Go-Round. It's about the first organized interracial protests here in the United States in 1960. It's some unhidden history you have to watch. More importantly, especially based on what's going on today, just seeing how these people, a Jewish community, a black college students came together under one cause to try to change things. It is very inspiring. So definitely check us out tomorrow on a Black Executive Perspective podcast.
We also want to make sure on the platform that you tune into the show, Need to Know with Nasinga. This is where Dr. Nasinga Burton gives her insights and timely, crucial topics and shapes our community and world. Tune in and gain some of the knowledge that she has to share. It's definitely a not want to miss type of situation. Need to Know with Dr. Nasinga Burton. Don't miss it.
Absolutely. And today we release the latest episode of Pull Up, Speak Up. So definitely tune into that. We talk about the hard hitting topics. We have a roundtable. Every voice counts. Every perspective sparks change. Obviously, this is not just talk; it's an action. So tune into the revelation. You can listen to it live. You can listen to it now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And then also the action that we always tend to lean on as we close out is our call to action. Our goal is to eliminate all forms of discrimination. And to achieve this, we're asking everyone to embrace less, LESS. In that situation, L stands for learn. You want to learn and educate yourself on racial and cultural nuances. Have banter, have conversations, tune into shows like ours to get a different perspective.
Absolutely. And then E, the E stands for empathy. We just talked about it. You want to understand people's diverse perspectives. After you learn now, and now you should have a better understanding of what Joe or Mike or Susan or Carol go through because you now put yourself in their shoes.
And then the first S is for share. You want to like and share what you just heard here. And when you get some information that's good, you want to make sure you spread it. Don't hide it, divide it.
Absolutely. And the final S is stop. S stands for stop. We want to stop discrimination as it walks in our path. So if Aunt Susan says something at the Sunday dinner table this weekend that's inappropriate, you say, Aunt Susan, we don't say that. We don't believe that. And you stop it immediately. So if everyone can incorporate less, LESS, we'll build a more fair, more understanding world. And more importantly, we'll all see the change that we want to see because less will become more.
Besides this live today, which we appreciate you tuning into, we also have an episode that dropped. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out the upcoming episodes, and we'll continue to do future lives. And make sure that you come in and comment, and we can answer to your comments live while we're on here. But make sure you tune into the website and for the newsletter, review, subscribe, like, share, everything you can. Tony, where can they find us?
Buddy, everybody can find a Black Executive Perspective podcast on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on our socials of TikTok, X, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook at a Black Exec. For the co-host with the most, my boy, Chris P. Reed down in Dallas. I'm Tony Tidbit. We talked about it. We learned about it today. We love you. And now we're out. Okay, buddy.
Cool,
That was
cool,
good.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.